With what is happening in Nigeria today, Nigerians shouldn't be talking about state creation because what is happening poses an existential threat to not just Nigerians but to Nigeria as a country. If Nigeria ceases to exist in the nearest future, will there be any state to be created inside the same Nigeria that no longer exists? It's like a man whose house is on fire. Is he going to preoccupy himself to quench the fire or continue chasing rats? All hands should be on deck to save Nigeria from total collapse, but it seems Nigerians don't yet understand how deep in a mess we are in, because if they understood, they would concentrate more than 100% of their time fighting to save the country. Just one instance, even countries that are deep in war for many years, they have never experienced a drop in their GDP by up to 50%. But it happened in Nigeria under 1 year, a country that is not at war. In the same country, millions are living in IDP camps despite not being in any war with itself or with a neighboring country. Anyway, despite all that is happening in Nigeria right now, you still can't blame people who are fighting for equity and justice in a country that is deeply flawed. This brings us to the issue of Anioma State being championed by Senator Nwoko. Yes, why people don't take the issue of state creation very seriously is because we are in a democracy. Yes, democracy in quotes or on paper. We know that the main operators in this democracy do not follow the rules, but nevertheless, they are hoping that it can be done, that a state can be created under a democratic dispensation, just like when Midwestern State was created in 1963. All other states were created by the military under military fiat. They never asked anyone whether they wanted to belong to any state or conducted any referendum. They just met with a few elites from the region and scribbled a few papers and states were created. So Ned Nwoko is hoping that it can be done under the current administration. That's what he explained in an X-Space where Nigerians asked him questions about the project, about the possibility of Anioma State being created out of the current Delta State. He also explained why the outgoing governor of Edo State, Godwin Obaseki, is against some of the communities currently domiciled in Edo State. These communities see themselves as Anioma people. As such, they want to join the new Anioma State if it works out. Let's take a listen.
Indigbos generally are all over the world, as you know. And so the idea is to create one more state for Ndigbo. The fact that they use Southeast as a nomenclature is neither here nor there for me. So that is why I feel that we on this western bank of Niger qualify to be so accepted as Ndigbo. But majority of the people are very much aware of what we are doing. Both from the Southeast and from South, they know that this is an opportunity to create one more state for Ndigbo. No need to keep dividing that 5 states. You remember some years ago, the former president of Nigeria, Buhari, said that Ndigbos are making noise, that they occupy, the word occupy is a dot in the map. So we don't want it to be a dot in the map. If we have Anioma now, and then maybe in the next 12 years we'll have Ikwere, also part of Ndigbo. Igbo area becomes enlarged. But people also, I know that the fear they have about all this violence in Southeast, about the sit at home and the emergence of IPOB and ESN. But this is exactly the reason why federal government wants to create one state, because the young ones from Southeast are agitating for something. They are saying that they are not being treated equally in Nigeria, that they want the equal treatment like others from the west of Nigeria to the north of Nigeria. So I believe that once this state is created, it will address those violence, it will address the injustices, it will address many things, and hopefully there'll be peace in the area, because for once, since after the war, something has been done to address the Igbos' fears of being left out in Nigeria. And so it will happen. I believe it will happen.
I understand that, a state transcends, ethnicity, tribe, or cultural affiliation. But that said, my question borders on the people of the Igbanke found currently in Edo State. What is there any plan actually currently to include them in this proposed Anioma state? I mean, on the premise that they are actually related to the Ika people that are currently also found in Delta State, or could we say that their fate has already been sealed? And I'm speaking about the Igbanke people. Thank you very much, sir. That's the question.
Thank you. I have been meeting with so many delegations from the Ibanki to the fact that there are about 17 communities that want to belong to Anioma. They are not comfortable where they are. They feel that they are not Edos. And by the way, I discussed this with the outgoing governor of Edo State about the need for those people to, will he object to those people being part of Anioma State? He told me yes, and he will object because some of those communities are in very strategic locations where there are oil and gas. And Edo State doesn't have too much of oil and gas like Delta. And they feel that if they should allow some of these communities in the Banki and others to come to Anioma, that they will have they won't have much resources. But we know that most of those communities are Igbos. They say it, they speak Igbo, they are Ika Igbos, if you know what I mean. They want to be part of the new Anioma state. But the current drive is limited to the 9 local government areas. Just as I told you, there are still drive from people from across the Niger, from Onitsha, from Obaru, from Uguta, and Doni, that they want to belong to Anioma. But as you said, state transcends beyond religion and tribe and culture. So wherever we find ourselves, we have to make a home out of it. Maybe in the future, we can bring those in the Banki and co towards Anioma. But let's create an Anioma state first. Then maybe in the future, we can go for some boundary adjustments. It is done. It is possible to get this done through boundary adjustments. And so I'm hoping that we can achieve that. Well, I don't foresee any. Where we are at this point in time. It's just about time. Everything is being done in accordance with the Constitution. We've gotten all the support that we need back home, and we will. This will happen, just like the immediate past governor said to me. He said to me he is not against the creation of Anioma State, but that what he's against is that Anioma should be part of Southeast. But I've said to him and to others, so if that is the case, then let everybody work towards the creation of Anioma State. Then we can sort out the zoning together at the right time with the president and his advisors. So I don't see any particular obstacles on the way. Nothing that cannot be handled. Not at this level, anyway.
So, when created, Anioma State will be the first state outside of the military construct. That means we need votes. And you mentioned about 9 potential votes from the Southeast already. So, looking forward and given given the temperature in the room in Abuja, what do you think? Do you think that we have, or we will potentially have, enough votes to push Anioma to be the first state created under the democratic dispensation democratically? Thank you.
Yeah. Well, thank you. If we cast our vote today, either in the committee on constitutional amendment or in the Senate as a whole, Anioma State will be created as of today. But it goes beyond that. There'll be public hearings, as I told you before, and then there'll be a third reading of the bill after the public hearings. Then Mr. President will get all the or most of the states, at least about 24 states, House of Assemblies together for them to sign for it. And that shouldn't be a problem, because if this is what the government wants to do, they will do it. It's just about inviting the speakers of the 24 states that they've chosen, who are likely to understand what is being done for justice and for equity. So, look, everybody understands that Ndibo have been wronged and undermined over the years since after during and after the Civil War. You know, I've been following up on something, for example, that towards the end of the Civil War, there was an Asaba massacre. There was a massacre in Ewulu and some other areas in Anioma now. And they were massacred because they are Igbos. They said, we're going to kill all the Igbos. So they killed them. They didn't kill them because they're from this side. They said, anybody, as far as, look, I live in Abuja, but as far as the Northerner is concerned, anybody from Benin is Igbo. Anybody up to Akwa Ibom, up to Bayelsa, up to Enugu were all Igbos. That's why it was Southeast, it was called Eastern Nigeria before, as you know. And then that Eastern Nigeria included the current Akwa Ibom, current Calabar, Cross River State, current River State, current Bayelsa. You know, they were all part of this Eastern region before, you know. And I am sure that we're not heading towards any regional government now, but Ndibo are all over the world. I said this before, they're all over the world. All we're just trying to do is to acknowledge that there are Ndibo on this side of the Niger that are equally as big to be a state. We have 9 local government areas. We have a population of over almost 3 million. We are bigger than Bayelsa State. We are bigger than Gombe State and some other states. And in terms of natural resources, we are about the 5th largest if Anioma were to be created today. So it is a very viable thing, and I'm glad that most Igbo people from Southeast are supporting this project. And we are also happy that this is happening because we know that they have acknowledged our brotherhood. We are in this together. We suffered together during the Civil War. Nobody made any distinction whether you are from Asaba or from Enugu or Owerri. You are an Igbo man. Once you are an Igbo man, you are an Igbo man. And so the earlier we accept it, let me tell you, those who are saying that they are not Igbos, they're saying it because just like when those who achieve success have many people identifying with them. But when you're defeated, nobody wants to identify with you. That's exactly what happened. When the Eastern Igbos lost the war along with us, most of our people felt, oh, okay, you know what? Let's be in denial, because once we're in denial, maybe they will now assimilate us into the mainstream of Nigeria. But that is not going to happen. That has never happened. And the earlier we understand that there are 3 main tribes in Nigeria: the Hausas, Fulani, that's 1, the Yorubas 2, and then the Igbos. So it's either we are part of the 3 main tribes, or we remain in extreme minority without any hope of progress beyond what we are doing now.